Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 13 Pro Max and compare it against the iPhone 12 Pro Max in 2023 and see which specific phone is a better one for you. Now, my 13 Pro Max keeps restarting for some weird reason, so I'm going to have to return it. But with my 12 Pro Max, it's still perfectly fine, which is perfectly good. Now, I like both these phones, but I think the 13 Pro Max is such a solid phone I would recommend every single person to buy. Links will be down in the description. If you want to get it from there, you can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside, the iPhone 12 Pro Max is still by far one of my, it's a good phone. It's not, but it's one of the weirdest phones I've ever owned, to be honest. On the front of this phone, you're getting a massive 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. It's a very good looking panel. I've liked it since day one, but I would say the 13 Pro Max did bring a way better panel with it having ProMotion. This one, though, still very high resolution, still have the notch up top, which could be quite annoying for some people out there, but I still think it's a pretty good looking display, and there's really not too much to kind of hate on it, if I'm being honest. With the 13 Pro Max, on the other hand, you are getting the same size display. So this is still 6.7 inches, very, very large display too. It's a heavier phone, it feels like, than the 12 Pro Max, but on top of that, you are still getting the notch, a little bit slimmer of a notch though, but this is a 120 hertz panel, so it's ProMotion, and it looks beautiful. I'm a big fan of how this specific phone looks, and even now to this day, it still looks very, very nice. A little bit of bezel around it, but not anything crazy. But definitely the iPhone 13 Pro Max, I think, has a better panel than the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now, on top of that, for the rest of the bodies here, you can kind of see that between both phones, you are getting kind of this, not the same exact way they're both set up, but very similar ways they're both kind of like set up, I would say, for the most part. So you have the volume buttons here, you have the mute switches, you have at the bottom lightning ports on both, SIM card tools still, or SIM card slots on both these phones still, which is beautiful. Now in the back, I have extremely cracked backs on both of these phones, which is so funny. So you can see I have a triple camera setup on both these phones. Both these phones have messed up backs like crazy. It's so funny to look at. Actually, it's kind of sad. You can see though, frosted glass backs though, for the most part on both of them. So if you're getting a brand new one, if you're getting one that's not cracked, this is not what it's going to look like. You're going to get one that's in pretty good condition, which is always good to see. And you're getting MagSafe capability behind both of them. So you're getting MagSafe capability, you're getting wireless charging on both as well. And this is some really good stuff that's going on with both of these devices, which is so beautiful. So personally for me, both these phones get the thumbs up, and that's pretty much it in terms of the outside. There's not a lot to complain about. Now, I would say in this day and age, there are some things that these two phones really aren't the best at that some other phones may be better at, in my opinion. And that is probably like with the 12 Pro Max, with it having, lack of ProMotion, and with even the 13 Pro Max, with the lack of it having, no notch. I mean, the Dynamic Island came out right after this. So that's something to keep in mind too. In terms of software and longevity, both these phones are going to be lasting quite a bit of time. The 13 Pro Max is not going to be, lasting forever, but it is going to be lasting a longer time than the 12 Pro Max. So that's probably a massive thing to keep in mind as well. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between them. The iPhone 12 Pro Max has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 13 Pro Max has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigs of RAM as well. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are clear on the background except for this one. The 12 Pro Max is right here. The 13 Pro Max is right here. So hopefully the 13 Pro Max doesn't crash on me. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Totally messed up the first one. Let's hop out of here. Music 3, 2, 1. Okay, I don't know why the 12 Pro Max was so faster there, but okay, it's very interesting. App Store 3, 2, 1. Okay, the 13 Pro Max now is the faster one here, with the 12 Pro Max being a little bit slower. So that was a significant difference there. I'm not really too sure what was going on there. Let's go and hop out of here. Let's do clock 3, 2, 1. And I'm just going to keep going until my 13 Pro Max crashes. Mail 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Photos 3, 2, 1. Okay, perfect. Hopping out of these two. Let's go into the camera 3, 2, 1. Let's go take a photo 3, 2, 1. So this one does have the night mode thing on, so we'll just kind of skip that one. Let's go and get into some of these other ones. Let's try Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Okay, of course that's going to happen. So the 13 Pro Max does look to be a little bit faster here. The 12 Pro Max a little bit behind, not the biggest difference in the world, but you can kind of see, I've been seeing some times where the iPhone 13 Pro Max is noticeably faster than its predecessor, which is always good to see. We want the newer ones to be faster than the older ones. That's why we spend more money on them. Twitter 3, 2, 1. Okay, perfect. Spotify, let's skip that one. Snake for blocks, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Let's go and get into some gameplay here. I don't know why the iPhone 13 Pro Max didn't click into it. But you can see for me, at least me personally, that both these phones look pretty good. There's not really too much to complain about here. Thank you, 3, 2, 1. And any second now, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is going to probably die. So I'm just kind of keeping that in the back of my head. I think that one kind of covered up that one as well. Hopping out of this one, Netflix, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go out of here. Let's go and get into Facebook, 3, 2, 1. Okay, perfect. So I think ultimately it's quite clear, at least to me, that both these phones are pretty decent, but the 13 Pro Max was the faster one and then it just crashed on me. So I'd probably give the edge to the iPhone 13 Pro Max being the faster phone. I think the iPhone 12 Pro Max is still a very, very fast phone for the most part, but I think it's quite obvious, to me at least, that the 13 Pro Max is the one that makes the most amount of sense in terms of speed. So that kind of covers it up there. Now in the camera department, like I said before, you're getting triple camera setups between both phones, which is honestly very, very nice. So when you're getting either one of these devices, you're getting phones that have really, really decent cameras. Now both these cameras are butchered on both of these, as you can tell. I mean, they're both cracked, but with both of them, you're getting triple camera setups, wide, ultra-wide telephoto lenses. You're getting 4K at 60 on the back and the front cameras, which is amazing. You're still getting really good modes, but the 13 Pro Max does have a secret mode that it's not secret, but it has another mode that the iPhone 12 Pro Max doesn't have. So with the iPhone 12 Pro Max, I mean, you are getting standard, 15 or 12x zoom. You're getting 0.5x zoom on the outside. You're getting video mode, slow mode, time lapse, standard stuff, portrait mode as well. The iPhone 12 Pro Max, though, does not have cinematic mode, which is one of those core features that the 13 Pro Max did actually end up bringing. So with something like the 12 Pro Max, you're still kind of at an edge. You're still at an edge over a lot of other cameras. But with something like the 13 Pro Max, you are going to be getting a little bit of a better camera on this device. So with the 13 Pro Max, I mean, this thing, not only are you getting 15x zoom, so you're getting a little bit more zooming in capability, you're still getting 0.5x zoom on the outside, but you are getting cinematic mode, which is a really cool feature. This is something that a lot of other phones now have nowadays, but in terms of iPhones, not every single iPhone has this feature, and the 13 Pro and the 13 series were the first ones to actually bring that type of feature in. So that is something that's really cool. You are getting a built-in feature on the camera of the iPhone 13 Pro Max that the iPhone 12 Pro Max doesn't have, and that may be a big deal to a lot of people. So keep that in mind. It's not the biggest deal breaker in the world, but it is one of those things that'll kind of set you up a little bit better in the future if you are interested in those kinds of things. So in terms of that, that kind of covers it up in the camera side as well. To kind of sum up this video, what I'll tell you is I definitely do think that the iPhone 13 Pro Max is by far the better camera in pretty much every single area. It only makes sense in my head to recommend buying something like an iPhone 13 Pro Max. I think this is a really good phone. You're getting a better display. I would argue the same build quality, but I just feel like a heavier phone. Better battery life on this phone. Pro motion is on this device. Faster performing phone. Longer lasting device. Like everything sways me into recommending something like the iPhone 13 Pro Max, if I'm being honest. I think the 12 Pro Max is still a pretty interesting phone. I never was really obsessed with this phone when it first came out, but I still think it has its place inside of Apple's, used lineup. If you're interested in it, I'd recommend buying it too. I would not buy this phone if you have the option to. But I think the 13 Pro Max makes so much more sense, and I would 1000% recommend buying a phone like this over a phone like this any day. So that pretty much covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.